Hey, today I'm going to give you a practical tool for working with your nervous system in the coming year, especially if you have the tendency to freeze up or make mistakes when there's pressure. I'm Jennifer. I'm a registered somatic movement therapist and educator. We have the year of the fire horse, which begins February 17th and is expected to be very intense, as you've probably heard, because everybody's talking about it. Besides the incredibly obvious state of the world, these ancient tracking systems are just about recognizing patterns, noticing the cycles of nature that we're all a part of. And we don't know what it will entail, but we can already sense that collective energy that wants to move hot and fast, like that horse snorting and stomping the ground, and it's ready to run. And while the things that are happening are unsettling, it's not all about disruption or chaos. And maybe your inspiration and clarity has you feeling like that horse, and it's exciting. We need that too. Do not let the world's chaos stop you from harnessing that energy for your purpose. But there is one particular pattern that's been observed in fire horse years that may be important for people who are recovering from things like complex trauma and long-term survival stress to be aware of. So with all this fiery energy, people may be more impulsive, more prone to having accidents and getting themselves into this or that. Please don't be afraid. It's just something to be aware of, and we want to pay a little more attention. Be aware of our surroundings and actions and not be too impulsive ourselves. But staying present, dealing with mounting pressure can be really challenging when we have a complex trauma history. Our low stress buckets are already all full. When we have layers of unresolved survival stress and perhaps freeze response in the system, we may find we're already a bit accident prone, especially when we're stressed, and there's more to it. So let's just clarify what freeze is. To understand a freeze response in the nervous system, we can think of the animal who goes limp and plays dead when there's a predator there. And there is the fully collapsed version where survival chemistry floods the system, slows everything way down, and numbs the body. As humans, we can end up living in a functional state of freeze where we never fully come out of those survival responses, and our entire systems end up organizing around threats that on a physiological level are never fully resolved. So this can be true even if those threats that were perceived were mostly psychological, and even if we can't remember a time when we were ever in a full collapse state. If we're living with functional freeze in our systems, we likely have very low tolerance for stress. And if there is a little extra pressure, we're having a bad day, it doesn't take much for the body to be overwhelmed again. It all feels like too much. And the system responds with what it knows. Okay, this is too much. We can't be here. We can't feel this. And so our biology checks us out. No, but another factor is this could all be happening. You could have a very positive mental response. You could be thinking all the high vibe things. We may think we're fine, but really we're using our transcendence to reinforce those pathways that have had us leaving our bodies where we need to be present. Every good somatic practitioner will tell you that a regulated nervous system is not always calm. It's accurate. It's responding appropriately to the present moment. So that's what we're working toward. When we don't have that true regulation, it's very common to look for a sense of control through the mind. And this can look like functioning as a bodiless brain, right? We can be quite intellectual and gifted in that way. But sometimes we feel stupid, right? Because we're cut off from the present moment and we're not able to access the wisdom of the body. So maybe we make kind of mistakes that just come from being too overwhelmed and spacing out, and we don't even know where we are. And I lived for many years with this functional freeze and a very strong dissociation pattern. So I know what that feels like. And it's not about being stupid or flaky. It's not your fault. It's just really hard to function when your system is always going offline on you. So there can also be a lack of spatial awareness, which can show up as clumsiness, especially if you had early trauma, where developing your sense of where your body is in time and space was interrupted. There's another possible scenario that when we get stressed, it's like everything is speeding up internally. And so we can't think straight, and perhaps we find ourselves acting impulsively. How do we shift these things so we can be confident in our ability to handle life, even in the intensity of a fire horse year? I'm going to walk you through a little practice that is just foundational for repatterning the nervous system that has been wired by trauma. Do this with me now, unless you're like driving or something. And I want you to practice it regularly. So it's not just an exercise, but it just becomes part of your way of being, where when you're under pressure, it will be very natural for you to pull yourself back into your body and into the present. So start with feeling your feet. Wiggle them a bit to connect with the ground, and feel how they contact the floor. Just press down a little if you can and sense the pressure. And ease up, but stay connected to the feeling of your feet. Not trying too hard, but you can always come back to your feet to remind you where you are in your body. And now try putting your hands on the top of your legs and just put a little gentle pressure on your thighs, maybe giving them a little massage. And notice how that contact feels on your hands and on your leg. And you can kind of go back and forth between hand and leg. How does it feel? Shifting your attention. Now, if you're standing, you can do the same thing, hugging your arms instead. Just notice the pressure, gentle pressure. And as you do that, notice your breath. Not needing to change it, but just letting it be what it wants to be. And notice where your eyes are focused. Sometimes we get into that tunnel and we're not seeing what's around us. So just let your eyes look around softly. Not darting, just allowing them to go where they want to go. And see if you can take in your surroundings while staying connected to your body. Might be easy or hard or boring, which is fine. If it feels overwhelming, which it could, you can always get up and walk around a bit. But if you can, just continue to take in what's around you for a little longer. If you have a window, maybe look and notice how far your gaze can see. And if your eyes are drawn to settling on something, just notice. Play with slowing down, really seeing what's around you without judging it or making a to-do list of it. And notice your other senses. What sounds are there? Are there any smells? You can notice your mouth and if you're tasting anything. And maybe you want to grab a sip of water. If you do, go ahead. And you can also use your voice. Here I am in front of my computer. And what I can see a lamp here. That just kind of pulls us back into where we are. And you can come back to your breathing and feeling your feet. Now you can also use this when you feel anxious or hypervigilant, just coming back to your body, feeling a little pressure, a little sensation, noticing what your breath is doing, getting your bearings, using your senses to tune into the present. This is just a basic orienting exercise where we're training the nervous systems to be in the present moment, grounding into our bodies, working on accurately assessing our environment. It is the work of Steve Hoskinson, founder of Organic Intelligence, and it's very widely used in the somatic therapy world. But it's not a very exciting practice for our our dopamine trained brains. And for trauma wired systems, it takes some practice to get used to, but it's invaluable in interrupting that tendency to drop into freeze and space out under pressure, or to move too fast without assessing things properly. So, not every accident or mistake is avoidable, but having all our faculties online, slowing ourselves down enough to not be impulsive, and learning to be in the present moment gives us a lot better chance. I hope you'll bookmark this video, practice orienting, and it's also important to work on our emotional processing so we are metabolizing our experiences in real time, which also helps build resilience and capacity for life. I have a free ebook on that on my website. It's called Emotional Alchemy, and that will help you lay a nice foundation for deeper work. So the link is below if you want to grab that. Whatever lies ahead in the fire horse year, remember we have choices. We are writing our own stories every day, and don't be afraid. You have not made it this far for no reason. I hope this has been helpful. I'd love to have this channel be a resource for you. So go make that fire horse energy work for you. Fuel your creativity and innovation. Until next time.